Alright, so here I am. This is the '09 Ford Fusion. So you got to take the wheel off. It's a good idea. And you can see what job we're doing right here. So it's a good idea to put it on ramps. So drive it up there, discharge your battery if it's dead, put it up on the ramps, then jack up the one side of the car on the passenger side. Take the wheel off. Take all the little rivets off of this inside wheel well. And there's 3 or 4 little 7mm bolts right here to take off. Come down here, and here's the pulley tensioner. There's the pulley tensioner right there. 3/8 ratchet. Go this way with it. Okay, then reach up with your other hand, slide it off, or slide it off right here. Actually, it'd be a lot easier. Just slide it off of this pulley. All right, we want to move everything out of the way so we can get the alternator out of here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this arm off with this bolt, and we're going to take that one off. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to take that one off. So we're going to take both of these out of the way so we can try to come out this way with it. Well, I'll let you know how that goes. You're going to have to pull out your 15mm shorty for this one. Get right up there. Start taking that off. Okay, now you got that out of the way. Look at more room already. Now we're going to take the other pulley off. All right, now you can see a lot better. Now look up in there. You see that long, there's your alternator. So right there's a bolt you need to take off right there. And if you look up on top, right up there, there's another bolt right up there. So I could probably access them from here. I'm going to give it a try. So, by the way, that pulley right there, where do we go? Right there was a 13mm, and I'm sorry, where do we go? That one was a 13, and that one was a 15. So you'll need short sockets. Okay, so the alternator bolts are 13mm. Now, you can't get a full-size ratchet out here. There's no turning room, but there is a hole right here on your frame, see? I want to show you something. There it is right there. So, you can go right up to your socket right here and use this right here, this little area. So you can do it that way. Now, if you have one of these little short stubby 3/8, you can get up there after you loosen it with the long one. Okay, so just swap your socket over, and then you could reach right through here with it. And that's going to help you go a little bit faster, because let me tell you, it just goes click, 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 one click at a time. By the way, yeah, could they have made this bolt any longer? Could they have? Oh my goodness, look at that. It's almost as long as that right there. Jeez. Now on this top bolt, you see all that stuff in the way? Oh yeah. Okay, it appears that if you move this little neck out of the way with the 7mm right there, you just push it that way, you'll have more ratcheting room this way, and you could actually use your ratchet instead of a wrench. Now, you're still not going to have much room. It's kind of tight, but it's going to be easier putting the bolt on and reaching down there. So take this off next. Okay, I know I said 7, but it is an 8. So take that one off, it's just an 8. I was able to get my short 13 1/4" ratchet down there. You can see, it's kind of tough to get in there, but where is it? Right there. And it's the right angle. See, there's a hose in the way. So that right there with the short 13 and a 1/4" ratchet will give you just enough room to loosen that bolt up. At that point, you could probably twist it out with your finger. But before you get started, I mean, you can go ahead and start loosening it, but double check the battery. It's real important that you come over here and make sure that cable's tucked back there. Sometimes it'll jump up and touch. If it does, you're in a lot of trouble, because after we loosen that back a little bit, we're going to take the plug off, and it's in the front. So they made it as difficult as they possibly can. So it's straight out here in the front under all this other stuff. So right now I can tell you we can move this out of the way, but it's not going to go far. It's got a rubber hose, see? So you can kind of work around it as long as this is loose enough. So you can't really bend it. And right here, if you loosen that right there, that little 10 millimeter, holding that on right there, then you'll get more playroom over here and you can just move it around a little bit. So my advice is to go ahead and loosen that up, then come back down here, take this one off, just put the screw back here, but move this, and then you'll be able to move this up out of the way. Okay, I've tried like every way you can. And if you look down there, I've got my 3/8 inch short stubby on a short 13 at the right angle. Now I've got to get a long pole and push down on it. Now you want to make sure that the socket you have only has 6 corners, 6 sides. You don't want a 12-sided socket. You might strip that bolt and then you'll be, well, let's just say there's a lot of screws in here. Okay, now earlier I was talking about loosening this up. Take this away from here. See, it gives you just enough room over here with this hose. You can put a pry bar or something right underneath it to hold it out of the way. That way you have all this room to reach down here to the alternator and disconnect the power supply. So try something like that. You'll be a lot better off. Okay, now we're going to take that positive off of the alternator. There's a rubber boot there. Pull it back, pull it to the left. And you definitely want to use the 13, just the size. And you want to use a 1/4 inch ratchet. If you're going to get any kind of reach in there, just enough pressure to take that off, okay? And it looks like it won't fit, but it will. Just make sure the rubber boot is pulled back far. Okay, I don't know if there's something wrong with my 13, but I might be wrong though. So here it is. You can't see it. It's down there though. Okay, it's a miracle. I was able to slide that 1/2 inch socket on there with the 3/8 snubby nose. Then I had to keep turning this so it dropped in just a little bit, and then you just pull on it. As soon as you loosen it, take this back out. It's so tight that if you keep going with it, you're going to get locked up, so don't do that. So just as soon as you get it loose, leave the socket on there and then undo the socket with your hand. And in case you're wondering, here's probably the only way to get your hand underneath this hose. Put it here, you go upside down, and then reach down. That's it. Now I'm right on it. So that'd be the way, and there's plenty of room. So if you're a left-hander, congratulations. You made your life easy. I'm a right-hander. Okay, I want to take a moment to thank Ford for engineering this car. We all know what an easy job this is for even a technician that's working in a professional store to come through here and have everything in the way. On the side of the car where all moving parts are. See over here on this side? See over here? I don't know why. Why would anybody put a hood stand right in your way over there? Why wouldn't they just put it on that side? You know, I mean, there's a lot of questions here. You could have it drop down from the hood straight down here, or mount it like this out of everybody's way. Even if you needed the air box, you could. That's an easy job. Over here, they're trying to get over here and around here. Oh, Ford, you guys are awesome, man. I just want to tell you what a great job. Oh, also, these lines that you put in, okay? I know it's trying to be a shortcut, save money, all this. Why didn't you just go right here and go straight down and then you turn up and into the bottom? I mean, it's at the bottom, right? What if somebody needs to get to the alternator? Hey, they could just jack the car up with everything connected and take it out right here on the side. Oh, yeah, better yet, why don't you just take this and go this way and around here and then go straight down and U it down there. Thanks, Ford. Appreciate you listening. Here we are. I want to show you what the plug looks like. Everything in this car is a nightmare. So, Let me get a close-up. Grab this plug. First of all, it's tied to the alternator, to the compressor wire. And when you go to undo this, on this side right here, it looks like, see that? There's a little button right there. You can stick an ice pick or something on and push real hard, but it doesn't work. So what I did was, I went right up to this little groove up here, put my ice pick there and pulled back on it, and then the plug came undone. And as you can see, it's fused onto the whole frame of this housing. So it does not work. And if you push, it just locks it more. So you have to go under there, see the little opening there on top? Go under there and pry back. That's how I got that off. So it just popped off after that. So I want you to see what the plug looks like. Looking down there, it's hard to tell, but there's like a little lip right here. So it sucks. It really sucks. Anyway, that's just a heads up. Okay, now go ahead and finish taking the top alternator bolt out. Now, it's a little sticky pulling it. You just gotta pull it out and bring it all the way back under the hose. You'll feel the hose, it kind of touches it. But just jiggle it and make your way out with that bolt. And look at that. Can it be any longer? Gotta ask yourself, what were you thinking, Ford? Okay, now we're on the last bolt. It's actually a nut. So, underneath where that wire harness is, just pull back on that and that'll pop off. And there's your nut right there. You take this nut off first, if you have to. If not, this should slide right off. There should be just enough room to slide that out. It's going to be really, really tight though. So, look at that. It's another long one. Hopefully it's a nut, and hopefully we can unscrew that stud. Let me get a close-up. Let's see. Nope. Okay, there's one credit to Ford. This, you're definitely going to need a 13mm deep socket. And here's the credit. They bent the line there so you can actually get the alternator off. Now, there is another way that you could take this off. You can take the alternator right down through here if you wanted to. But you'd have to release that bolt right there in the middle. And you know, the EPA doesn't want you just releasing all that. If you do, you can access the top bolts and these two bottom bolts. Take this compressor, move it way over here, and then the alternator, you'd have no problem reaching all the bolts from here. Well, at least the bottom ones. And the top one you probably still have to do from the top. Maybe. I don't know. But that is another way you could do this. See, I haven't even tried to take it out of that hole over there yet, because there's a lot of stuff in the way. So we're almost there. I'll tell you what, I've been on here for about 3.5 hours right now. The video may look quick, but this is no job for a beginner. You're gonna be frustrated and put some dynamite right there. Yeah, just say forget this car. So anyway, to give you just enough room to get your ratchet here and actually turn it. Once you get this one started, you may have to remove your ratchet and undo it the rest of the way by hand. Okay, this will just give you enough just to get it started. Unless you could reach up in this hole and ratchet it out. Okay? Now that's as far as I can go. My ratchet was getting stuck right here against that frame piece. So now you're going to have to get one hand and push the alternator back up against the engine block if it starts to slide off. But this would be the last one to take off, and trust me on that, because the other bolts would be really hard to get out. They'll all be pinched on there and it'd be just really rough, and it's already a rough job. So same thing when you put it back, get this one started, put it back on, line the others up, slide it up, get them lined in, put them in by hand first. So here we go. Now I'm going to push the alternator up with one hand, and then I'm going to unscrew the socket. I'm just going to let the socket stay there and use my hand to turn it. And that's kind of how you have to do that. Okay, so here's the last bolt. Hopefully that's welded on, or I'm going to say I got really lucky, and I think it is. So it's basically a bolt with just a welded stud on the end, just to hold the wire harness there in place. All right, so that's it. And now the alternator is now dropped, and now I've got to see if I can get it out of that hole over there. Well, you can learn by my work. Now looking in here, you can see the alternator sitting right there. I haven't tried to pull it yet, but look how large they made that AC compressor. They wanted it sticking way out there. Anyway, I think it would have been a lot easier to release the R134A and have it sucked out on a vacuum, and then remove it. And if you remove that, that alternator should drop right out over there. It should make your job a lot easier. So here I am, 3.5 hours later, and it's probably a good time. I've taken about 20-minute break, but we got to see if that sucker is going to come out. I just don't think it will. There ain't enough room in here. I don't know who came up with this idea. Ford, are you nuts? See? Then, of course, we know it's not coming out the top. That thing is not going to budge through there. The only way to get that to come out is to come over here and loosen up the subframe. Go to the back, loosen up the subframe. Go to that corner, go to the other corner, loosen them all up. 4 big old bolts. And let's see, yeah, 4. Some cars have 6. This one looks like it only has 4, but you got to be really careful doing that kind of crap. There's a lot of heavy weight there. Plus, if you undo the other side too much over there, and you undo it too much, your drive shaft will disconnect, bend, break, snap, whatever. You got to be real careful over here on the driver's side if you do it. And it looks like I'm going to have to. I don't see another way that's coming out without taking the compressor off. This is all test and error, but there are other ways to take that alternator out. And I wanted to see how close that was, so it was worth the work and worth the video. So I'm looking at the firewall back here. This is rubber, that's good. This right here, I can go up probably 4 or 5 inches. If I disconnect it, I can move it back. That can go up higher. Then I've got a sensor over here I can take off. Now I'm looking for all the best ways now. The power steering box, and take these off. This will lift up, move it forward. You don't want anything hitting the back over here. Then you can probably take this motor mount off. These 3 here, and that big one right here, just take that off. This is a balancer, so you can take that off. And that way the engine will come up. And then, by loosening this and moving it out of the way, moving the neck out of the way, you probably could go up another 6 inches. This might slide through here, moving this little harness. See, let's move that little harness out of the way. And I've been on this job long enough, so I'm not going to try it today. Maybe the next one I will, and then I'll do another video on it, and then we'll see which one's the best, and I'll delete the worst one, because I've always liked the best way. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and lower that frame a little bit, see if I can pop that out of the corner down there. It's probably my best bet. Okay, so this is where it's going to get tense. Get you a 1/2 inch ratchet, 21 millimeter socket, and if you have a steel pole, a nice long steel pole that's hollow, real solid, you can break these bolts free. And I gotta tell you, it's not gonna be easy. So you're one person, you come up here. I would start right here. Make sure it's a deep socket. Okay? Have it just come out the bottom of the bumper right here. Get your bar and break these free right here. Now, before you do that, I'm going to recommend you put a jack right here, right there in the middle, right where you're supposed to jack the car up, right there in the middle, right on the frame. Because what you're going to do is lower that right there, and when you take these bolts loose, there's one here There's actually one here, and there's like a plate back here. You'll have to take the plate off. And it looks like that one's probably a 15, and that's a 21 for sure, and that back one's a 15. Don't quote me, it could be a 17. Haven't got back there yet. And that's holding all your suspension up. So you got two sides to work with. You got to take those plates loose. There's another plate right over there. So, yep, you're gonna have to get that plate right there as well. All right, so loosen all those up, and don't take all those out all the way. This side over here, you want to take it out 9/10 of the way. On the driver's side in the back, take it out halfway. Up here on the front, you're welcome to take that out all the way. But you have to remember, when you lower this, the engine's coming down with it, so you're going to need a good jack to jack it back up with, and it's got to be supported. Also, don't forget there's a fan and other things up there that could rub. So as soon as you start bringing this down, just take a good eyeball up above and make sure that you're not going to break something. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and take that plate off, or loosen all those up and see what happens. I believe in taking off the least that you have to. But on this one over here, you can see up in the hole, I got it on there. I used a 6-inch, half-inch extension, and it kind of just crammed up there. It's holding itself. So I'm going to try to do this without taking this other plate off. Now remember, safety first. So set your up a jack stand. Put a stand there so you can use your jack. You want to make sure you can use your jack, because you're going to have to support the front end of that frame on the bottom front. So let's do that now. Let's move this jack over to the front now that I have a stand here. I'm going to use this just to pull those two front ones out and bring the front end down. That should expose enough room for that alternator to try to squeeze it out of there. But before I do, I want to show you, since you're way up in the air, you're going to need some wood support. So grab you, 3 2x4s and a 4x4. You can fit it in there, because when you lift your jack up to hold that, you're going to want it to reach up there. So we're a little ways away. Hopefully the jack goes all the way up. Okay, I'm going to lower this, and the only way we're going to lower this frame is to lower the motor. So the motor's attached to this mount here. Now I can see all we need is 4 or 5 inches. So I'm going to loosen all these bolts up right here, and the motor's going to lower with it because it's connected to it. So we already know this motor mount must come off. Then when you lower it and it starts to lower on this side, this box possibly could hit this line or go that way some. So it looks like there's 2 mounts in the back, 2 mounts in the front, 10mm. So take those off, remove these 3, loosen this one. You're going to have to play with it and put it back on. This one is 15. See if I need the bar. Nope, you won't need the bar. Well, that's good news. That one looks bigger. It looks like a 19, so we're going to find out which one that is. The one with the yellow dot. Looks like a 19 or a 21. Let's see, here's a 19 right here. And of course you have this in the way. Thanks, Ford. So let's remove that first. That looks like an 8. I'll take that sucker. Here's a 8. Nope, it is a 10. There we go, there's the 10. Plug it right in. Get that out of the way. There's something else to get in your way, right? That's all there is to it. Look at that. All that manpower labor, that's crazy. Let's use this, might as well. There we go. Set that where you can find it. I guess that goes into the top of that other one too. So that had to come out. Now we can mess with that. Let's see. It's not a 19, it's probably that 21 we're using. Over there. There's that 21. Alright, go ahead and take that one off. Not requiring an extension. Fit right over there. And let's see how easy that one is. Oh yeah, no problem. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and use the drill anyway. See you in a second. Well, let's see if that'll be enough. Something else. Always something else, isn't there? Okay, well the motor's staying. There must be another mount. Frame hasn't broke free yet. I'm gonna go check it out. There's got to be something holding that frame. Okay, that was pretty easy to figure out. The frame won't move until the wheels come off the ground. And I know there's a strut up here that's holding it. There's a strut over here that's holding it. And if I'm going to have any chance at this, I'm going to say best way to drop that is to take these three off right here, just on the passenger side. Okay, there it is there. Now those are 14 millimeters. So obviously, we got the two bolts in the back, the nuts still on the back of the frame. I took them down to about 4 threads and left them there. In the front, I completely took the bolts out. Now I'm just praying. I took this off, so that should actually come up and off of there. Trying to figure this one out. Okay. So that one should come up and off. And what I'm going to do is just lift the engine a little bit with the jack and the wood, since nothing's moving right now. And then I'm going to pull that plate off. That's the best way. Make sure you put some blocks of wood under there on the oil pan and square it. I'm going to jack it up. I'll put some relief on the engine. That'll help you get that plate loose. And you could just pop the plate up just far enough. Got to get it off of that mount. Fight it just a little bit. And lower it. Bring it back up again. If I only had 4 hands, what kind of person would I be? There. Picked it up, moved it to the side. Be careful right here with this. It was kind of in the way. Okay. Now I'm going to lower it. Now I lowered it, but the strut deals did not come down, which is good news because the frame came down without me having to lift the body up. So I'm pretty happy about that. So basically I just had a stuck motor mount. And now look at the room you have to pull the alternator out. And I'm going to try now. Isn't that nice? Look at that. I believe it probably come right out of there now. And look how much that popped out of there. Let me go ahead and turn the light on. See that? Look at that. That's a lot of room. Yep, I believe we can probably get it now. Look at that. Drop that right on out of there. Not all the way, so it's still lined up, see? So, that's good news.